What if the biggest barrier, to spreading good news today isn't really a hostility from the outside? What if it's more like a quietness from within, a passivity?
Yeah, that's a provocative thing.
Right. Like the problem isn't persecution, maybe, but just silence. Believers who are present, definitely connected in their communities, but, well, not actually seen, but not really heard.
Present but not penetrating, perhaps.
Exactly. So today, we're diving deep into this really compelling, maybe even challenging idea, transforming presence into proclamation.
And proclamation here isn't necessarily shouting from the rooftops.
No, not at all. Our sources frame it more as the intentional, spirit-led sharing of the gospel, the good news, but woven naturally into your everyday life, your conversations, your actions.
Right.
Our mission today is to unpack why just being there isn't really the full picture and how moving towards this kind of intentional proclamation, well, it's not just essential, it's transformative for you, your relationships, the world. So let's get into it.
It's definitely a core tension, isn't it? I mean, so many of us, and with really good intentions, we've kind of bought into this idea that, if I live a good life, love people well, serve faithfully, eventually people will notice and ask.
Seems reasonable on the surface.
It does. It's noble.
Mm-hmm.
But what our sources are suggesting is that this view kind of overlooks a vital truth. Presence prepares the ground. Yes, absolutely essential. A proclamation. That's what actually plants the seed.
Okay, so here's this powerful, maybe even counterintuitive point our sources are making. Simply being present.
Yeah.
It isn't the end goal.
Right.
True transformative impact, they argue, it only really ignites when that presence takes a courageous step, when it becomes proclamation.
A bold claim. Really reframes things.
It does. Think about that analogy they used, the one about the farmer.
Ah, yes, the farmer. Very clear.
Who faithfully tills the land, waters it, protects it from weeds, does everything right.
All the prep work.
All the prep work, yet never actually scatters a single seed.
And no matter how fertile that soil becomes,
the field stays unchanged.
Right.
It'll never bear fruit.
And the connection they make is stark.
It really is. Our relationships, even the deepest, most authentic ones, they can't bear that eternal fruit if the word of Christ isn't actually spoken into them.
Mm-hmm. If the seed isn't sown. And this isn't just like a modern idea. Scripture backs this up again and again, and with real urgency.
Romans 10.
Exactly, Romans 10.14 and following. It's not just about hearing in general. Paul's laying out God's, architecture for salvation. Faith doesn't just passively happen by watching someone live well.
It's ignited.
It's ignited. By hearing a specific message, Paul asks, how are they to believe in him of whom they have not heard, and how are they to hear without someone preaching? It's direct.
And that fits with 1 Corinthians 2, right? The planting and watering.
Perfectly. 1 Corinthians 3.6, Paul says, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. Both the planting, the proclamation, and the watering, the nurturing presence have to happen before God brings the increase.
And then there's the Great Commission itself.
Matthew 28, yeah. It doesn't say go and blend in quietly. It says go teach, make disciples of all nations.
Wow. So putting that all together,
Yeah.
the silence of the church isn't just like a missed opportunity.
It's more fundamental than that. It's a breakdown of the mission itself. Our sources put it bluntly. A hidden gospel is, for all practical purposes, no gospel at all.
That's incredibly stark. A hidden gospel is no gospel. Okay. So presence does matter then. It's the preparation.
It matters deeply. It gives our words credibility. It shows the love of Christ in real, tangible ways. You need it.
But presence without proclamation, it's like that rain analogy.
Grain without seed, exactly. Refreshing, maybe, but ultimately fruitless.
And this feels especially urgent right now, doesn't it, given where we are historically?
Absolutely. We're at such a unique crossroads.
I mean, think about it. We've never been more interconnected globally. Digital platforms, social media, people moving across borders like never before.
Unprecedented connection.
And yet, the irony is, deep spiritual conversations seem rarer. Silence often feels like the default setting for the church, doesn't it?
It does. That's the paradox.
But here's what's really interesting from our sources.
Yeah.
Behind all the noise, the media, the debates, people are searching. There's this deep ache underneath it all.
A real longing.
Yeah. For truth that holds up, for hope that doesn't disappoint, for an identity that, doesn't just shatter under pressure.
You've nailed what our sources call this age of contradiction. It's full of these paradoxes.
Like what?
Well, first, we're hyper-connected, yet increasingly isolated. Millions are scrolling, but loneliness is epidemic. People crave real face-to-face connection that goes beyond alike.
I see that. Okay, what else?
We're also relativistic, yet searching for truth. The culture says, live your truth, right? But without an anchor, people just drift. There's a yearning for something solid.
Makes sense. Relativism can feel empty.
And maybe the most interesting one, we're skeptical of religion, yet incredibly open to spirituality. There's distrust of institutions, definitely, but also this huge hunger for mindfulness, wellness, transcendence, something more. So in this restless, contradictory world, when the gospel isn't proclaimed, it leaves this massive void, and no ideology, no movement, nothing else can really fill it.
It's like offering water in a desert.
Exactly. And we're holding the living water, but maybe choosing not to offer it. In this climate, avoiding those spiritual conversations, it not being neutral. Our sources argue it's actually surrender.
Okay, that point about being skeptical of religion yet open to spirituality, that really hits home. But I can hear someone thinking, okay, but if people are already skeptical, won't try to proclaim, just push them away. How do we navigate that? Does history give us clues?
That's the crucial tension, isn't it? And the sources are clear. The methods might need to adapt culturally, absolutely. But the mandate to proclaim, that doesn't change.
So adaptation, not abandonment.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And history. Yeah, it's full of examples.
Yeah.
Think about the Great Revivals, the Awakenings, Reformation, the evangelical movements. They were all sparked by courageous, clear proclamation.
What was it, just lecturing?
Not usually, no.
Yeah.
Often, it was proclamation that met people right where they were. It addressed their deepest questions, their fears, their longings. It was tender, yes, but also bold, adapting the approach without watering down the core message.
Okay, tender and bold, adapting without compromise. So we've talked a lot about the why this shift from just presence to active proclamation is so vital. Let's pivot now to the how.
Right. How do we actually cultivate this?
How do we develop this kind of transformative presence? Because our sources say it's way more radical than just being polite or nice.
Much more.
It's about, and I'm quoting here, the courageous alignment of one's inner life with God's truth.
That alignment piece is key. And it's fascinating how this authenticity they describe isn't about projecting perfection.
Not at all. How so?
They call it transparency without pretense. It means being willing to admit our weaknesses, our struggles.
Which feels counterintuitive sometimes.
Totally. But then it's about leaning completely on God's strength in those weaknesses.
Yeah.
It's that paradox Paul talks about, right? When I am weak, then I am strong.
Okay. Transparency.
Also, integrity without duplicity. Basically, no gap between your public faith and your private life. Your faith isn't a Sunday mask. It's the actual marrow of your daily choices.
Wow, the marrow. That's deep.
It implies it's fundamental, structural, and this kind of authentic presence, it carries weight. It creates an atmosphere.
Like Joseph in Egypt.
Exactly. Even as a slave, then a prisoner, his presence radiated God's favor. Things flourished around him. Or Daniel in Babylon, his unwavering faith created this atmosphere of reverence, even impacting pagan kings.
So it's not about having a certain personality type?
Not at all. It's about genuine spiritual transformation. What people end up noticing is something, well, otherworldly yet deeply human.
That resonates. That idea of admitting weakness.
Yeah.
It's tough. We're often taught to put on a brave face, a perfect front.
We are.
But you're saying it's actually that inner work, that willingness to be real, that authenticity. That's the foundation for actually influencing others outwardly.
That's what the sources strongly suggest. It's the prerequisite.
So for you listening right now, what does this look like practically? How can you cultivate this kind of transformative presence day to day?
Well, the very first step, interestingly, is often the quietest one.
Which is?
Before we speak, we really have to learn to listen deeply.
Okay, that's an interesting turn. So the art of proclamation actually starts with listening, with attunement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Attunement. And what that means here is orienting your whole life towards hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit and sensing his movement, both within yourself and in the people you interact with. It's about developing spiritual sensitivity.
Okay, break that down. Listening to God first.
Yes. Listening to God is the wellspring. All genuine proclamation flows from that relationship. It's not just, a religious duty. It's connection.
Like the biblical figures.
Think about it. Abraham heard God's call before he left Ur. Moses had that burning bush encounter, that deep revelation, before he went to Pharaoh. Even Jesus said he only did what he saw the Father doing. He was listening, watching.
So practically, how do we cultivate that?
Things like consistent daily prayer rhythms, not just talking, but listening. meditating deeply on Scripture, and, importantly, practicing stillness, making space to actually hear the question behind people's words, as one source puts it, and the longing beneath their masks.
Hearing the longing beneath the mask. Wow.
And then, if listening to God is the wellspring, listening to people is like the riverbed that carries that living water outward.
Okay, I like that imagery.
Jesus was the ultimate master listener, wasn't he?
The Samaritan woman comes to mind.
Right. He asked for a drink, sure, but he was listening for her deeper thirst, her spiritual need. Or blind Bartimaeus, Jesus asked him, "What do you want me to do for you?" Even though the physical blindness was obvious.
He listened beneath the surface.
Exactly. He listened for the cry of the heart. So spirit-led listening means we approach conversations with this sense of reverence, like we're standing on holy ground because the image of God is there in every single person.
So practically, what does that kind of listening involve?
It means asking good, open-ended questions, resisting that reflex we all have to jump in and fix things immediately, paying attention to body language, tone, what's not being said, and maybe even praying quietly in the moment for wisdom and discernment, reflecting back what you hear with compassion.
That really changes the whole dynamic of a conversation, doesn't it? It's less about winning a point and more about understanding a soul.
Precisely, like being an archaeologist of the soul, as you said earlier.
Okay, so we've listened, we're attuned. How do we then move from that place into, meaningful, spirit-led dialogue? Not just listening, but speaking.
Well, think about Jesus again.
His conversations were remarkable.
Absolutely, not just miracles, but the depth of his conversations. And he often started not with a statement, but with a question, like with Bartimaeus. What do you want me to do for you? This is what our sources are calling holy curiosity. And it's not just being nosy or casually interested.
No.
It's a disposition, they say, shaped by the Spirit, marked by genuine love, humility, and that deep attentiveness we just talked about. Really being interested in their story, not just waiting for an opening to share yours.
And what's powerful is realizing that every single person carries this hidden narrative, right, underneath the surface. And questions, when they're spirit-led, act like gentle lanterns, illuminating those unseen parts of their soul.
Gentle lanterns. I like that. So not just how are you,
Yeah.
but deeper questions. Exactly. Maybe something like, what's been bringing you a sense of joy or hope recently? Or, on the flip side, what are some of the really tough things you're navigating right now? Questions that open doors to the heart.
And then there's storytelling.
Hugely important. I mean, the Bible itself is fundamentally a story, a grand narrative. And stories, they have this way of bypassing our intellectual defenses, don't they? Much more than abstract arguments sometimes. Think of Jesus in parables.
True. So sharing our own story.
Yes, sharing your personal testimony. Look at Paul in Acts. He tells his conversion story multiple times. It turns theology from an idea into a lived, relatable experience.
But how do you make that connection smoothly?
Ah, that's the art, isn't it? The sources talk about the pivot of personal testimony, moving gently from their story, which you've listened to with holy curiosity, to your story, but with humility and real resonance.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Maybe someone shares deep anxiety about the future. You could listen, empathize, and then perhaps gently share, I've wrestled with anxiety too, and I found a different kind of peace through my faith in Jesus. It didn't make the problems vanish, but it anchored me. See the pivot?
Yeah, connecting your experience to theirs, anchored in faith.
Okay, and this naturally leads towards what the sources call the invitation to truth. This is kind of the culmination of the presence, the listening, the curiosity, the testimony.
It sounds delicate.
It is. It's about humbly extending that same invitation Jesus offered. Come and see. It's not coercion. It's an offer.
So true proclamation is tender, but also bold.
Tender yet bold. Exactly. Maybe it sounds something like the source of that peace I mentioned, the thing that really grounds me. Well, it's my faith in Jesus. Would you ever be open to hearing a bit more about that?
Gentle courage. I like that.
And this involves contextualization, but without compromising the message. Remember Paul in Athens. He saw the altar to an unknown God.
Right, and he used that as a starting point.
Brilliant, wasn't it? He learned their language, understood their questions, and built a bridge from where they were, directly to Christ. We need to do the same. Yeah. Understand the culture, then build a bridge.
That's so helpful. It really is about illuminating Christ as the source of hope, tailored to that person, that moment, not about winning debates.
That's the goal. Clarity rooted in the gospel.
Okay, so when we actually do this, when we make that shift from just being silently present to engaging in the spirit-led proclamation, the effects don't just stay in that one conversation, do they?
Rarely. Our sources talk about the ripple effect. Like dropping a pebble in a still pond, the witness of the gospel sends out these ripples.
Like Jesus's mustard seed analogy.
Exactly. That tiny seed grows into this huge plant offering shelter. That's the expansive nature of the kingdom.
So where do we see these ripples?
Well, think about the workplace. It's arguably one of the biggest mission fields today. Your integrity, how you handle pressure, your kindness, that's all silent testimony.
Proclamation without words, almost.
Yes. And then offering those words in season. We talked about maybe a word of peace to an anxious colleague, or sharing your sense of purpose when someone's feeling lost in their job. That can be incredibly powerful.
And beyond work, in the community.
Absolutely. Community impact. Well, true proclamation is never disconnected from action. Volunteering, getting involved locally, how you use your resources. These actions give immense credibility to your words. It's James chapter 2, right?
Right.
Faith without works.
It's dead. Right. Actions speak.
They really do. And think about our current world, so fractured, so polarized. This kind of holistic witness, presence, and proclamation, words and actions, it builds bridges. Interfaith dialogue, cross-cultural relationships, working for reconciliation. The gospel itself is about breaking down walls of hostility, as Ephesians says.
So it has cultural implications, too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The sources argue that when enough individuals start living these kinds of spirit-saturated lives, authentic in their presence, courageous in their proclamation cultures themselves, inevitably start to shift.
Like the early church.
Exactly. Remember their critics shouting, "These men who have turned the world upside down have come here also." That wasn't just about miracles. It was about lives transformed, speaking truth with love, and impacting everything around them. That's the ripple effect.
And that ultimate ripple, I guess, is that vision in Revelation.
Revelation 7, yeah. The multitude from every nation, tribe, people, and language all gathered. Our witness now, this blend of presence and proclamation.
Yeah.
It's like a forward echo of that coming reality.
Yep.
It's participating in that future now.
Wow. A forward echo. So this journey, this movement from presence to proclamation,
Right.
it's not really optional, is it?
Not if we take the mission seriously. It's the pathway of transformation for us, for our communities, for the world. And it's not choosing one or the other. It's a seamless rhythm,
Yeah.
living and speaking God's truth.
A seamless rhythm. Okay. So as you, our listener, go about your week, maybe consider this. What would genuinely change if every follower of Christ carried not just competence into their daily work, but also conviction? What if those everyday spaces, boardroom meetings, coffee breaks, neighborhood chats, networking, what if they became sacred spaces? Places where the good news could be spoken naturally, authentically, powerfully.
That would change everything.
It really makes you think. The question isn't just can you speak, but will you? Are you willing, maybe, to trade the comfort of silence for the potential, the power of spirit-led influence?
It's a challenge.
It is. But the encouragement is there too. Take the seed you've been given, scatter it with faith, and trust the Lord of the harvest. Trust him to bring fruit that will last.